Okay, so we're going to look at the relationships that parallel lines have with transversals. So the first thing I want to introduce you to, make sure that we understand, is that we are looking at line M and line M, and they're parallel. And these little markings here is just a way to say that they're parallel. You'll see that it's kind of an arrow in the middle. And so those are our two parallel lines, and we call this line T, is the transversal. It is just simply a line that is cutting or going across and through other lines, and so these other parallel lines in this case. And so what we're going to do here is we're just going to look at all the relationships. And as we look at the relationships, we are going to, what I want to do is basically talk about pairs and list all the pairs. And so we're going to start with vertical angles. Okay, we're going to start with vertical angles. So this one should be something that we already know. Okay, so for instance, angle 1 and angle 3 are vertical. The other thing is, we'll get to that in a second. Angle 2 and angle 4 are vertical. Angle 5 and 7 are vertical. And angle 6 and angle 8 are vertical angles. It's this like cross relationship, right? Like this here, the 6 and the 8. We say that those are vertical. And the other thing that we can say about vertical angles is they are always congruent. Vertical angles are always congruent. And I want to use the symbol for congruent, but vertical angles are always congruent. So we should be very familiar with that relationship, and let's just kind of go from there. So the next relationship I want us to look at is linear pair. Both of these two, by the way, are review. Okay? These first two things are review. I'm not going to list every linear pair because there are actually 8 different pairs. Angle 1 and angle 2 are a linear pair. These are angles that are adjacent to each other. They're right next to each other. Angle 3 and 4 is a linear pair. But so is 2 and 3, so is 1 and 4, let's say 5 and 8, and 6 and 7. There are actually 4 more pairs. And then these are always supplementary. A linear pair is always supplementary. Always supplementary. So now what we're going to do is look at some of the new relationships. Okay, so some of these two relationships here are ones that we should have already known. Okay, so let's just go over here and let's explore some of these new relationships. Okay, so the next one that we're going to look at is corresponding angles. Corresponding angles. Okay. I like to think of corresponding angles, the way that I like to think of them is that they are in the same spot. Basically, I am looking at 2 groups of 4 angles, and I don't know if you're going to see the writing that I do because I'm going to have to erase it. But like 1, 2, 3, and 4 is a group of angles. And 5, 6, 7, and 8 is a group of angles. And I like to think of corresponding angles as simply being the angles that are in the same spot within the 2 groups. For instance, angle 1 is corresponding to angle 5. It's in that top left-hand corner. Okay? Angle 2 is corresponding with angle 6. It's in that top right-hand corner of those groups of angles, okay? Angle 4 and angle 8 are also corresponding, and angle 3 and angle 7. Now, so with vertical angles and linear pairs, I said they were either always congruent or always supplementary. Now with these, I have to look at these in order for the relationships that we're looking for to exist. These lines must be parallel. So they are. Line M and line N are parallel. And as long as they are parallel, these angles are always congruent. They're always congruent. I'm going to also write if parallel, or so if lines are parallel. This is the symbol for parallel. As long as the lines are parallel, the corresponding angles are congruent. Okay? And then we get to alternate interior angles. Now, one of the things I want to talk about here, now that we've gotten to this, is that these words tell a story. They're actually quite descriptive, and corresponding is a little bit tougher because there's not, that's how I kind of see that same spot. But alternate interior, the alternate has to do with which side of the transversal it's on. So like the word alternate is like basically saying you have this group of angles to the left of the transversal and this group of angles to the right of the transversal, and the alternate means you're going to have one on each side. The word interior means that the two angles will both be inside of the parallel lines. So we had the parallel lines, and they will be inside of them. So one pair, for instance, would be angle 4 and angle 6. And there's just one other pair, angle 3 and angle 5. These are also always congruent as long the same stipulations apply. The lines have to be parallel in order for it to be congruent. But alternate interior angles are always congruent, which brings us to same side interior angles. Same side interior angles. Once again, the words same side means that both angles will be on the same side of the transversal. So think of it as 4 angles to the left of the transversal, 4 angles to the right of the transversal. Meaning same side is that they're both on the same side. So angle 4 and angle 5 are same side interior angles, and angle 3 and angle 6 are also on same side interior angles. The other thing that we could say about these is, first of all, they are not congruent. If I look at angles 4 and angles 5, one of those angles is obtuse and one of those angles is acute. Angle 4 is obtuse. Angle 5 is acute. There is no way that an acute angle and an obtuse angle are congruent. However, one thing I could do actually with this a couple of steps is if I use alternate interior angles, for instance, angle 4 and angle 6 are congruent, right? What I know also about angles 5 and 6 is that they form a linear pair. So the two of those have to add up to 180. So in a very quick sort of way, what we discover is that same side interior angles are always supplementary. So you'll see that every one of these relationships are either, if parallel as well for this, either the relationship is two angles that are congruent or two angles that are supplementary, okay? And we have two other kinds, and let's go ahead and get those. So we have, let's go back to the alternate. So alternate, we have alternate exterior, and I'm going to use the abbreviation for angles. Alternate exterior angles And same sort of thing. Alternate sides of the transversal. Okay, but the word exterior means they're outside of the parallel lines. So angle 1 and angle 7 are alternate exteriors. Angle 2 and angle 8. These are always congruent. I'm just going to put congruent. Please understand that the lines have to be parallel, just like normal, with these to work, okay? And then the last kind is, looking for a new color here. I've used just about everything. Let's use this. The last kind are same side exterior angles. One pair of these, so once again, same side of the transversal, but the exterior meaning that they're outside the parallel lines. So angle 1 and angle 8 are same side exteriors. Angle 2 and angle 7. These are also going to be supplementary. Okay. These are also going to be supplementary. Alright guys, so this whole thing here, everything you see here, is really most of what we're going to be doing moving forward. We'll have a lot of other kind of questions with this. So good luck moving forward. Thank you.